Today, we are going to go over 2 years of work on Matty Crafts, looking at multiple different projects that I have made throughout my YouTube career, and I figured why not do it on one of the best days of the year. It's insane that I've had this channel for over 2 years now, actually nuts, and how many connections I've made with either subscribers or other YouTubers. It's really something special. So today I want to show off everything that I've made, and I think it's going to be an awesome video, and I hope you really enjoy it. Also, it's been snowing for like the last 24 hours, so it's like, what can I even do? I can't go outside, so it's a good day for this. The first project we're looking at today is the Flood Scarab. This was a project that I made quite a while ago on the channel, probably about 1.5 years. And this one's really cool because it's actually a lot of different projects kind of stuck together. At the back of the Flood Scarab here, we have this grave mine, and I think the grave mine looks really cool. This was a part of another diorama that I had to get rid of to make space. So I just basically carved off the pieces I wanted and stuck it onto the scarab. This would be awesome to fight in the games one day. This is the diorama Great Schism. So in Halo 2, before the Arbiter got cast out of the Covenant with all of the other elites, the Great Schism happened on High Charity, and they both fought against each other. You actually see this a little bit in Halo 2, which is really awesome. So I wanted to make a diorama of it. We got Tartarus going up against an elite, which looks so cool. A few of his other honor guard buddies have been squished and destroyed by Tartarus. This grunt is slashed up, and honestly, the whole diorama turned out really awesome, and I've always really liked this one for how small it is. Up next, we have a Locust destroyed by a group of 2 Spartans and a Spartan Slayer. The story behind this diorama is very Halo Wars inspired. On top of that, I wanted to add a Locust. We don't see enough Locusts in Halo. I think they're a great little medium scarab vehicle. And honestly, it would just be really fun to ride around with them and actually get to use them. So I hope they bring them back. And then we have a Spartan dead here with a Spartan Slayer looking over him. I actually sold the Spartan Slayer that I made for this set, but he was really cool, gold, really awesome. It reminds me a lot of Halo Wars, which was a great Halo gaming series, and I hope they bring that back too. But really love this diorama. Now we have 2 ambush dioramas. So these both tell a little bit of a different story. This one is a Spartan realizing that it's too late. So the Spartan saves 1 Marine, and the Marine is left standing and goes back to base and says what kind of happened. That's kind of the idea behind this diorama. Pretty sad one, but just looks kind of cool. And I used clay for this with a bunch of natural rock, so it's all natural. It has that really nice earthy feel. For the second one, kind of the same thing. The Marines are holding down an outpost and the Banished is pushing them, but this one's a little different because I have some dead Marines with more gore, more style to them, a lot more spikes, dead Spartan. I was really getting into the platoon packs at this time and just making a ton of Marine customs, and I wanted to make some dead Marines as well, and I thought they turned out really awesome. Halo 2's Specter was probably one of my favorite vehicles to just ride around in the game. So I wanted to make my own with a spinning turret and a removable hood. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to be able to add figures into it, make it feel more alive, and use it possibly in a stop motion in the future. It doesn't look the absolute greatest, but it does give me that Specter kind of vibe. I think I made this about 1 year ago or so now, and I could probably do a whole lot better, but it's just such a nostalgic thing to me. Halo 2 had the coolest vehicles, and I really wish that they would bring this one back to the game. This is a very special diorama in my opinion, and it's kind of an underrated one as well. I made this one about 1 year ago on my channel, and it's a video that never really took flame or fire. It never really burned, but I used a ton of old Mega Bloks figures, pillars to give it that Halo 2 kind of vibe, some broken shade turrets that I thought looked really cool to just mix it up and add that infantry kind of style. And then I wanted to have a Guardian from Halo 3 peering over the entire battlefield, almost like it's watching as everyone fights. And something that needs to have a little bit more attention to detail is when I start remolding figures, I'm going to make insanely big landscapes for Halo, which I think is going to be pretty fun. I'm slowly working on that off screen, and who knows when that will be out, but it's going to be really awesome when it is. For my next awesome vehicle, we have the Banished Shadow. Now, this Banished Shadow was kind of a concept art of the Halo 2 Shadow and the Banished coming together. I made this before the game dropped, and I actually used this in my stop motion, and it was just something that I really liked. I like the color scheme. I like the detail. I made a lot of this Banished Shadow on stream as well when I used to stream a lot, and it was really cool to have everyone's concept and ideas going into this project live. I always loved doing those streams with everyone just because I got to have their input, and it was really fun, and I really like this Banished Shadow. I thought it turned out so awesome. A smaller diorama, but one still packed with detail. This is a small cave that I had a golden Arbiter coming out of. I made this around a year and a half ago, and it was basically the Arbiter was hunting down this grunt and he slashed him up and killed him, which is extremely rude, but at the same time also what he had to do to complete his mission. And I thought the cave turned out really good. I used a few cool techniques. The back of the cave is actually all made with paper towel that I just glued foam onto to give it that nice cavey stability, but also fill in all those gaps that is kind of hard to do with styrofoam. And it worked perfect for this little cave. The grunt inside is completely cut in half and it's all snowbound, so that's really awesome. The very first thing that Master Chief steps out of in the video games is a cryo tube. Ever since Halo CE, they've been in the game, and I figured I would make my own with some custom toy parts that were kind of laying around, some foam in a piece of plastic. And it turned out really good. And it's all held in there based on friction. So the front of it can just pop right off. You can see the inside here, and then you can just put your Spartan in there and then close it up. I've used this thing a few times. I definitely need to make some more and some better ones, but it was a really fun little process and it worked perfectly. By far one of my favorite new Halo Mega Construct sets, I modified and turned into a Flood Scorpion tank. Something that I've always loved since Halo 2, when you get to finally fight one, I think I really needed and wanted to make. Ever since I saw this set, I figured I would make an entire flood line with it, which I did. I'm going to have the link to that video in the comments down below. And I made this awesome custom flood hog that looks like it's being infected. And I think this is some of my best flood work I've ever done on the channel. It's really sleek, it's really good, the colors are nice, and it really looks gross and infected. I actually did a video with Demarcation with this one, and he said the same thing. It looks real and nasty, which was perfect and exactly what I was going for. But probably one of my favorite projects, and if you haven't seen the video yet, you should check it out. Grunt Goblins. These guys are awesome. I love the Grunt Goblins. I wish it was a set I bought more of. I only bought 2, and I customized both of them into Banished Grunt Goblins, which I'm really not sure why they're not in Halo Infinite. It seems like a perfect thing to kind of boost up the grunts and make them more cool. And the Grunt Goblins that I made here look so banished. I feel like they would fit right in. I really like these guys. I hope they bring back a Grunt Goblin set so I can buy more of them. And they're just really dang cool. This is the UNSC Elephant. This is chocked with story, adventure, and style. This was supposed to be the same exact elephant that pulled up that bomb in Halo Wars 1 that Forge used to detonate and save everyone. And I wanted to have it have a bunch of damage, detail, blood marks, everything. It has a spinning turret. It has a crane that can move, even a little hook right there, which I thought was really fun. This is an awesome elephant. I always loved this project, and even has that Halo 3 like walrus thing, that little meme. And yeah, this is just chocked full of damage and story. I got a little memorabilia to Forge right there. Just a really fun little elephant that I made, and it's probably one of my cooler projects that I still have. This is the Halo 3 ODST Flood Bank. And the reason I say Flood Bank is because there was a bunch of flood running up here and attacking some ODSTs. I sold all of those flood figures a while back, so I don't have them anymore. I have a bunch of new flood figures though, and it's just a really awesome diorama. The outside of a Oni base or a Oni door going into a bank in the same universe that Halo 3 was in. And I did this around the same time that the Flood firefight mode was getting released. So I was like, hey, why not make a Flood mock? And it turned out really awesome. Yeah, everything about this diorama was cool. Great video as well. I'll have that linked in the comments down below, and definitely go check it out. The Banished Fighting Pit. I can guarantee you a lot of you haven't seen this diorama. This is probably one of the cooler Banished dioramas I've done. It is just a fighting pit that the Banished have made with various different broken things like Banshee hoods, ODST drop pods, Covenant barriers, Scorpion tanks, barrels, and basically they just made this giant fighting area that they go to war in whenever they're bored, or they put Marines in there and they fight them. This is something I wish they kind of had in the video game. I didn't see anything like this in Halo Infinite, but it's a diorama that I really like and I think is super awesome. Have a dead elite in there, a dead Marine up there, and I believe this one was mentioned in the comments once, and then some guy was like, hey, make a Banished Fighting Pit, and I'm like, you're a genius, I should do that. So whoever mentioned that, good on you. And it allowed me to use all these extra broken parts that I didn't really need anymore, and I actually got to use them for something important. This is the Flood Cult chamber. This was a really awesome project I did a while back, and it is something that I have a specific memory to that I'm not going to go into too far of detail, but it was a crazy experience that happened to me right before, while I was working on this video. So this has some memorabilia to it, and it's just really cool. I'm going to be kind of putting up the picture of what it used to look like because I got rid of the bottom part of it, but the Flood Cult project was always something really fun, and this is just so cool with the Covenant door out front, the rocky area, and the flood tendrils going inside with the Prophet figure just chilling out there. It just gives me a bunch of weird vibes, and I love that. This was my RvB Diorama, and this was very Halo 3 inspired. I had a bunch of Halo 3 figures with a half camo red Spartan in the front that took on all of these guys and rammed this flag through this blue Spartan. It was really cool diorama. I want to make some more RvB dioramas. I just bought a ton of those Master Chief heads with red and blue figures, and I'm going to make a really cool RvB diorama. On top of that, I just have a little engineer here chilling. This was one of my better engineers that I made. He's still not perfect, but he's a fun one. And all in all, this diorama was awesome and has a ton of fun stuff going for it. And my engineer fell. Poor guy. The Banished Scarab. Probably one of my most famous, I guess, projects. I don't know if famous is the right word. Just interesting and fun projects. This one got a ton of initial buzz when I first made it, and people were really liking it and kind of, I wouldn't say freaking out, but they were really enjoying the Banished Scarab. Now, I need to make an updated version, so make sure we hit 350 likes so I can do that. But once I make that updated version, it's going to be so awesome to see the difference between this style and how much better I've become. But this is still a monster of a project. Looks so cool. So very happy with it. And I did this probably almost 2 years ago now. So my skills have drastically gotten better. I can't wait to make a new one. One of everyone's favorite Halo Reach vehicles, the Falcon. Now, this is another stream vehicle that I made on stream when I was doing that back in the summer. And it was really, really fun to do those streams. On top of that, this cockpit comes out. You can put a figure in there, a 100% handmade cockpit. And you can just put that right on there. And everything is all handmade. This vehicle is really kind of tricky because of how many shapes and grooves and how things slightly go up. But I think I did a really excellent job on it, and I was very proud of how good it looks. It looks very Falcon-y. It looks almost like a Night Ops version. I had some custom white logos on it, and super pleased with all the hard work. Moving on, we have the Flood Hog. This is a flood transport hog where they are moving a ton of biomass, pretty much 4 blue grunts, 1 red grunt, and a jackal sniper. I feel like for most of these, I've been making them a lot of UNSC based whenever I did flood projects with hogs, so I kind of just wanted to do a different style Covenant flood hog where the biomass just kind of threw whatever in there and they loaded up and they got going. It can still move, it still has suspension, it's a golden flood hog. I mean, what more do you want? This thing is awesome. Continuing with the flood theme, we have 2 flood brute choppers. Now, these flood brute choppers are really interesting. I bought a ton of these brute choppers and I decided I would make a few of them into some flood forms. I created them all differently, individually, and all to tell a different story. This one right here has a bunch of transport spots on the back so you can move a bunch of guns, and it's more of a transport chopper, which is kind of perfect for the grunt kind of style. All these grunt mules actually worked amazing for this little project. The second one is a Spartan with the biomass forming around the brute chopper, really sticking them to it. I imagine Spartans are better at driving than most other enemies, so why not stick one to a brute chopper and you got an ultimate killing machine, and it's really cool looking. Crow's Nest is a special mission for any Halo 3 player, and this was a perfect little diorama showing off that style with the brick and the steel that you see all along the map, which makes it so iconic. I had some little lamps going up on the very top. I had a dead Marine that a Brute Chieftain crushed, and then Sergeant Johnson found the Brute Chieftain, and he did what he had to do. Really awesome little diorama. And there you have it. Over 2 years of work all in one video. Technically, this isn't even everything that I've made. I've made over 200 customs and probably another 50 projects that I kind of had to throw away. It's been a busy 2.5 years of making YouTube videos, but I have had so much fun doing it, and I want to get get back to making those old school ones that we just saw in this video. I appreciate my awesome community that has been here for so long, and I have a bunch of fun stuff in store for you. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to help support, share with a friend, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.